Hey, for this is great. This is your history video for Wednesday, February the 17th, and we are doing just one work text page. That's page 159, and you have a quiz or had a quiz today, and it's reading pages 222 to 223. So let's get to that, and we can get started. All right, so starting in 222, you've got page, all right, so 222, the struggle for existence. So it says, Byzantine rulers after Justinian had difficulty holding lands that had been conquered. Financial weakness and loss of life from disease contributed to decline throughout the empire. In the west, education, commerce, and maintenance of public buildings came to a halt. In the east, merchants, industrialists, and landowners struggled as wars and uprisings disrupted trade. The growth of the arts and sciences slowed as money for buildings and development dwindled. The emperors who ruled after Justinian found it impossible to keep the loyalty of conquered people in distant provinces. Each province was different from the others in culture and religious beliefs. The Byzantine army was also weaker at this time because it was made up primarily of mercenaries. Persian emperors had been attacking the Byzantine Empire for several hundred years. After Justinian's death, the Persians renewed their efforts to take the province of Syria. The Persian emperor wanted Syria because it was rich from trade and could afford high taxes. The Byzantine government was not able to pay for strong mercenaries to defend Syria, so the Persians seized the territory with little difficulty. The Byzantine Empire also faced trouble on the Balkan Peninsula. Two barbarian tribes, the Avars and the Bulgars, migrated into the area. They were strong enough to conquer and settle the land. The Lombards, another tribe of barbarians, successfully invaded the Italian peninsula. In merely 100 years, the Byzantine Empire lost nearly all the land conquered by Justinian. The Italian peninsula was Rome, basically, is what you're talking about, the base of where Rome was. Heraclius, military success. The Emperor Heraclius began his reign in 610. Without him, the Byzantine Empire might have disappeared. He reformed the army, reconquered the land taken by Persia and the barbarians, and made the roads safe for commerce. Because of the empire's desperate situation, the Byzantine people often did whatever Heraclius demanded of them. He even convinced the church to provide the necessary money to fund the war against the Persians and the barbarians. To strengthen the army, Heraclius fired the mercenary soldiers and trained Byzantine peasants for the army. It took him 10 years to prepare his new soldiers. He promised to pay them by giving each one enough land to support himself and his family. With his new army, Heraclius drove the Persians from Asia Minor and conquered Syria, Palestine, and Egypt. Then he marched the army to the Balkan Peninsula and defeated the Avars and the Bulgars. Successful empire leadership. Heraclius added so much land to the empire that he had to find a new way to organize it. He divided the land into provinces called themes, which is your secret word. Each theme was a military zone with many peasant soldiers living in it. These soldiers were responsible for the theme's defense. This system lasted almost until the fall of the Byzantine Empire in 1453. Trade flourished under the government of Heraclius. People who had the same skills or occupations formed special groups called guilds. There were many kinds of guilds. For example, there were guilds for money changers, goldsmiths, and notaries, legal officials whose main function was to oversee the writing and recording of official documents. In the cities, other guilds supplied meat, fish, and bread to the people. Foreign merchants traveled throughout the Byzantine Empire selling grain, wax, leather, furs, spices, and ointments. They also sold slaves. One of the most important items of trade was silk. Silk came all the way from China and was extremely expensive because of its complicated production process. Persians controlled much of the silk trade route. Silk was worn only by government officials. Each Byzantine official had a symbol indicating his office woven into the fabric. Byzantine spies discovered how the Chinese made silk. The spies stole some silkworms and smuggled them out of China. Silk production became one of the most important industries in the Byzantine Empire, especially in the cities of Constantinople, Antioch, Tyre, and Beirut. Heraclius also changed the language of the empire. Although the Byzantine people believed their empire was a continuation of the old Roman Empire, very few of them spoke Latin in the 600s. Since almost everyone spoke Greek, Heraclius decreed the language of the empire would be Greek. He even used the Greek title Basileus rather than a Roman title. All right, and if you missed the secret word, go back to around minute 3 and you will find it there. All right, have a good day. See you tomorrow. Bye.